I love this guy. This is the funniest guy I've ever met. I'm going to quote this guy to all my friends. I love his town. I love his family. But now, I think I speak for all of us when I say,
welcome back to Screen Rant. It's pretty safe to say that almost everyone in the animated cast of Family Guy should have been put in jail at one point or another, but no one may have committed more crimes than Peter Griffin himself. From bank robberies to shooting members of his own family, Peter's stupid decisions often lead to breaking the law, and today we'll do a run-through of some of his most major crimes, including some misdeeds he actually admits to. Peter is often ignorant of his children, and even admitted to not liking being around them, but sometimes he does the right thing and stands up for them. In The Tan Aquatic with Steve Zissou, Peter helps his son out with a class bully. While his intentions were pure, his actions were not. Peter confronts the 13-year-old Kyle in the kid's own bedroom, and after some insults are hurled Peter's way, the defensive father begins punching the boy out until he's a bloody mess on the floor. After beating up Kyle, Peter makes his grand escape by jumping out the window and returning home like nothing happened. Despite the parents calling Lois to rat him out, somehow no cops are involved in this mishap. After spending so many years obsessed over women, Quagmire finds a new obsession in the episode 420. It's his pussycat. When Peter and the gang get sick of Quagmire's changed lifestyle, they decide to do something about it. The initial plan was to just shave the cat and then hope Quagmire became disinterested, but Peter takes things too far with the switchblade he carries around. With a quick swipe, the cat's instantly dead. He even takes things a step further by adding some extra slices and cuts off a so-called lucky cat paw. Instead of confronting his error, Brian goes on a journey with Peter to bury the cat. Later, Quagmire offers a reward for the missing pet. Peter accepts the reward money while admitting to killing the feline without any regrets. When Peter learns that his home is actually not a part of US soil, he decides to do what no one else would and pretty much declare war against the US. From his land of Pretoria, Peter invades his neighbor Joe's property to take over his swimming pool. He also goes against the US by inviting the world's most ruthless leaders to his home. Yet after all of this and the turmoil it creates, everything is back to normal by the start of the next episode. From the title of the episode, Steroids, it's pretty obvious that at some point Stewie will take steroids. It was just the manner he took them in which became so surprising, or in the case of Family Guy, just another typical episode. After getting beat up by a girl at a birthday party, Stewie trains at a boxing gym with the help of Peter. A man approaches with some steroids, and without a second thought, Peter purchases the drugs and injects Stewie with the powerful muscle builder.
oh my, suddenly I'm full of energy. All right, fat man, let's do this!
After the abusive act, Stewie grows massive muscles, and Peter's poor parenting decision creates some drastic side effects, including some extreme aggression. Even though Peter is the one who forced the drugs on Stewie, he pretty much gets off scot-free, while Stewie deals with his own issues. In Tales of a Third Grade Nothing, Peter wants to impress his bosses at the beer company, so he sets his sight on a rival beer company billboard. Instead of doing the simple task of spray painting the billboard or, tearing the thing down, he decides to blow it up. Naturally, the bomb plan has some drastic errors, including a massive explosion at a children's hospital right next to the billboard. More than 3 floors of the hospital burned down, and Peter just goes on with his everyday life, even after finding out that 14 people perished in the massive fire. The FBI eventually did track Peter down, but his sentence was only a measly 7 days in jail. Peter and a majority of Quahog have shown a major disdain to Meg over the years. The insults and remarks are sure signs of bad parenting, but there have been a couple of times where Peter committed some major crimes against his own daughter. One of the more extreme examples comes in the episode Peter's Daughter. Meg merely says hello to her father when he pulls out a gun, pulls the trigger, and blasts his daughter into a bloody mess. The worst part? Peter's apathetic reaction to the whole ordeal. Obviously, the whole gunshot thing wasn't canon, though, or else Meg would be dead at this point already. While Peter enjoys pulling out guns on his own daughter, he actually once tried to bond and spend some quality time with Stewie. It's just the way they chose how to bond, which caused some major problems. In the episode, The Courtship of Stewie's Father, Peter discovered he could make Stewie laugh by causing pain to Lois. What initially began as a can of food knocked upside her head quickly escalated to a violent smash with a glass jar of pickles, and was followed up with a hose spray that sent Lois flying down the stairs. Family Guy has taken on a lot of different pop culture properties, but one of the more obscure may be their parody of Schindler's List. When Peter finds out Lois is Jewish, he reenacts the scene in the Steven Spielberg film where Amon Gut shoots at Jewish workers from his balcony. So yeah, we have Peter sitting in his bedroom window shirtless, aiming a scope at his own wife. Luckily, Peter shoots the mailbox instead, a shot he claims he intended to make. Just like Amon, Peter stretches and smokes like putting a bullet in someone is no big deal. So not only was the shot pretty much attempted murder, but it was a hate crime as well. In this next dreadful crime, at least Peter wasn't the main culprit. In the episode Brian Griffin's House of Pain, Megan Chris accidentally knocks Stewie down the stairs. The large gash on his head eventually exposes his brain and turns the poor child into a bloody mess. When Peter discovers the problem, he doesn't rush to the hospital or contact Lois. He attempts to cover it up by blaming Lois herself. As Lois pulls out the driveway, Peter makes a miraculous throw, landing Stewie's lifeless body under her back tire, causing even more damage while allowing Lois to take the blame. We've all questioned Peter's intelligence over the years, but in the episode P-Tarded, he gets official word of his mental challenges and instantly decides to take advantage of it. After hitting a news reporter and then breaking his leg, Peter learns he can get away with just about anything thanks to his diagnosis. So what does Peter decide to do next? Well, what doesn't he do? During his crime spree, Griffin decides to be a peeping Tom to everyone in the women's bathroom, and everyone in each stall lets him get away with it. He literally kicks down each door, getting a full glimpse of every private moment. He would have been arrested on the spot in any normal situation, but this is Family Guy after all, and his crimes only get worse. For Peter's first venture into a fast food restaurant after his diagnosis, he gets a little too crazy. Not only does he cut everyone in line, but he proceeds to